Hello, my name is Jordan Knight, and this is my opening opposition argument. The decision of the United Nations to end the annual dolphin hunt in Taiji would set an unfortunate standard, and that standard is that appeasing the demands of extremists is more important than the livelihoods and traditions of the Japanese people. However, before tackling the ineffectiveness of the United Nations, I would like to respond to the arguments made by the proposition. First, the proposition states that the ways in which dolphins are slaughtered is inhumane. However, while the methods by which dolphins were slaughtered in the past may have been reprehensible, there are currently new methods being put in place to make the slaughtering of these sentient creatures less painful. The pushback to alter these methods stretched from Tokyo to Taiji, where a fisheries official told Agence France Presse that the U.S. ambassador to Japan, Caroline Kennedy, should visit the cove and learn about the new humane way of killing dolphins. Quote, "We have switched to a more humane way of butchering them. We cut the spinal cord so that they don't bleed. We don't butcher them like before." End quote. Next, the proposition makes the point that dolphins are important bioindicators and are important for the health of other marine life. The opposition does not refute this statement. However, according to Masa Hasegawa of the Japan Daily Press, it is important to remember that the fishing in Taiji does not destroy the environment by accelerating the extinction of any species due to the declining fishing permits available to Taiji fishermen. So these dolphins will not have a dangerously lower population and can still promote stability in the ecosystem of the ocean. The proposition also states that high levels of mercury in dolphin meat is harmful to the Japanese. However, according to the Health, Labor, and Welfare Ministry, the levels in general don't pose any immediate danger to ordinary consumers, and according to the research conducted by the ministry, which checked 9,700 fish of 400 different types in the early 2000s with assistance from fisheries agency and local governments, Ishi-Iruka, or harbor porpoise, which accounts for 96% of dolphins caught in Japan, have lower levels of methyl mercury than several other fish commonly eaten by Japanese people. Also, the few dolphins that are transported to dolphinariums help improve the knowledge of marine life and make people understand the importance of dolphins. The proposition also attempts to get the point across that dolphins deserve to have the same ethical considerations as humans. However, Masa Hasegawa of the Japan Daily Press has also stated, and I quote, "Human beings, so long as they live on this earth, will continue to consume other lives, whether they are plants, fish, birds, or even dolphins. If anything is inhumane, our human life is paradoxically inhumane. It is therefore important to realize that our existence depends on other creatures' lives, so we must all be thankful for the loss. But if the human life and its basic rights, which include freedom and prosperity, are threatened because of our love for other creatures, I must say that the order of morality is deeply confused. We should not hinder anyone's rights for sustenance and to lead prosperous lives." End quote. Without the ability to hunt dolphins following the ban to hunt whales in 1988 by international regulations, the income of the Taiji fishermen would be below 2 million yen, or below $20,000 annually, which is definitely not enough to sustain, not to mention prosper. While dolphins do deserve a certain level of respect, the ability of people to make a decent wage is simply more important. Next, the proposition points out that the United Nations is the only organization capable of passing and enforcing such a resolution. He uses the banning of whale hunts in Japan as an example. However, at the end of last month, Japan has recently launched their first whale hunt since the International Court of Justice's ban. Tokyo has called off its next Antarctic hunt, slated to begin in 2014. And said it would redesign the controversial whaling mission in a bid to make it more scientific, in an effort to once again gain permission to hunt whales for scientific research. But vessels would still go to the icy waters to carry out non-lethal research, raising the possibility that harpoon ships might return to Antarctica the following year. So while the ban temporarily halted fishermen, the United Nations ruling has not had much of an effect on the decisions of the Japanese to carry out the practices of their past heritage. So while this law may have set a precedent similar to the Emancipation Proclamation, there is simply no one to enforce it aside from extremist animal rights agencies that have no legal jurisdiction. The plan of the opposition is a plan to withhold the traditions of the Japanese people and for the United Nations not to act in any way to preserve both the traditions and the livelihoods of this proud nation, and to not set an unfortunate standard that depending on other living creatures to live is wrong.